Welcome back to Jurassic Park Minute. Jurassic Park Minute is the fan podcast that chronicles and overanalyzes the classic 1993 film Jurassic Park minute by minute. I'm Kyle.
I'm Brady.
And today we're here to talk about minute number 20 of Jurassic Park and get our first look at a dinosaur. Brady, how are you doing today?
Doing good. How about you?
I'm doing pretty awesome, man. Pretty awesome. Just excited about this minute of Jurassic Park.
I know.
Yeah.
It's a big one. It was a hell of an experience being in the theater and seeing this movie and witnessing CGI for the first time in all of its glory.
Yeah. Now, there had been some CGI previous to this. There was the, water tentacle in the abyss.
In the abyss, yeah. The T-1000 manipulating, like, actual tangible, elements that we're familiar with, like a floor and things like that. And
now, I want to say the last Starfighter, I think some of the Starfighters in that were CGI, and then I think maybe the very first
Young Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, there was a knight that was made out of stained glass.
Stained glass, yeah.
But nothing on the level of this.
Nothing on the level of this that had been to this scale, this size, and I mean they came out swinging. They didn't hold back, and I think it's interesting that we're getting our first look at CGI in all of its perfected glory. With a brachiosaurus, which I think is like the most majestic animal that they could have possibly used.
And also one of the first creatures in the world. Maybe it's cool that the very first CGI stuff was done on dinosaurs. Yeah. Well, hey, we've talked about this dinosaur enough. Do you want to go ahead and get on to the minute?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. In the previous minute, we saw the jeeps that carry the guests from the helipad while Hammond and Gennaro discussed the safety precautions that have been put in place. As the minute ended, the jeeps crossed a grassy hill. At minute number 20, the jeeps continue to drive over large grassy set of hills. John Hammond stands up in the back of one of the jeeps and tells the driver to slow down and stop. The driver slows down the jeep as Gennaro reads over notes. At 20:08, the second jeep also slows down as Ellie looks at a giant leaf in her hands. At 20 minutes 10 seconds, we cut to a side shot of the jeep as Dr. Alan Grant looks out and notices something strange. The camera pushes in on him as he slowly processes what he sees. Dr. Ian Malcolm also sees whatever Grant has noticed. Both men cannot understand what they are seeing. Grant removes his hat as his jaw continues to open in awe. Grant stands up in the jeep and fumbles to remove his glasses. His eyes are wide open, mouth agape. At 20:28, we cut to a shot of Ellie continuing to stare at the leaf she grabbed earlier. She tells him that this species of Veriformin has been extinct since the Cretaceous period. As she talks to Grant, he reaches into the front seat and turns her head with his hand. At 20:35, as Grant turns Ellie's head with his hand, she drops her mouth open in awe. Ellie also stands up in the jeep. She cannot believe what she sees. At 20:43, we cut to a shot of the jeep where Grant, Malcolm, and Ellie are all staring at a brachiosaurus. At first, all we see is the creature up to its shoulders. The camera follows the dinosaur as it walks right and chews on some branches that it has in its mouth. It ignores the jeep. At 20:52, Grant and Ellie get up out of the jeep in order to get a closer look at the dinosaur. So there we see it, the first dinosaur in the movie, a brachiosaurus, which is quite a sight to behold. I think they definitely picked the best dinosaur to have shown to the audience.
I think so. One, because it's the largest creature to ever walk the face of the earth.
Yeah, the scale of the damn thing.
Yeah. And two, it's just its reveal. And this is the first time in the movie you get to hear the Jurassic Park theme, John Williams' amazing theme.
Yeah.
And it's just, what a moment. I don't know. It's hard to put into words.
There's a lot of awe in this scene, not only by the characters, but as a viewer seeing it for the first time, it's really something to behold. And it's, still stands out as some of the best CG I think I've ever seen as well. I don't think that I'm looking through the glass, with rose-colored glasses or however you say the saying. I think that it's actually still holds up very well.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. And I think it's interesting how they drive up kind of to the edge of some wooded area so that the thing, that's how they don't see it at first.
Yeah, I didn't really get that until I was watching this. I kind of thought it was a bit of a flaw. And, it looks like they shot the shots of the Jeep maybe somewhere else because there's a shadow on the Jeeps when they're by the trees. But I always wondered why they didn't see this thing from so far away.
Yeah, it's that kind of small but wooded area that it would have been like, I don't know,
it was kind of hiding in there.
Yeah, so that's a very important touch. So let's talk a little bit about those Jeeps.
Yeah. Tell me about the Jeeps.
The gas-powered Jeeps are 1992 Jeep Wrangler Saharas. And I've actually seen some people who have modified their own with the Jurassic Park logo and the paint and everything. There's a website called JurassicJeep.com.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, they do. I don't know. The entire website's dedicated to the cars in Jurassic Park, which is interesting.
Wow.
Let's see. And the Jeep that Hammond and Gennaro are in actually showed back up in Jurassic World. It's the one that the kids steal out of the garage.
Oh, really?
Power back up and take out. Yeah, it's Jeep number 29.
29, because the other one I think is 18,
18,
right?
yeah, and that's the one, and it's also sitting right next to 29 in the garage in Jurassic World. So I thought that was a neat little callback.
Man, that Jeep Wrangler has not changed in its design one bit, has
Yeah.
it? You could look at that car from like the 1960s to like the ones right now, and they're still almost exactly the same.
Yeah, pretty cool car.
Yeah.
So the driver of the Jeep that Grant and Ellie and Malcolm are in is a stuntman, and his name is Brian Smurs. I hope I'm getting the pronunciation of his last name right. But he's actually a stuntman who was in Jurassic Park, Minority Report, Back to the Future 3, Speed. So our buddies Scott and Nick over there at Back to the Future Minute might have some info on him. So yeah, it's his reaction too when Malcolm says that crazy son of a bitch. He actually did it. Is hilarious.
Yeah,
I
he
think
just
it's
kind of
one
slowly turns and looks at him.
So, aside from looking into information about the Jeeps, I actually looked into information about their sunglasses.
Yeah, tell me about
I
them.
really like Ellie's sunglasses, actually. She's wearing Ray-Ban Erica Tortoise model, and Grant is wearing the Ray-Ban Aviators.
So they got Ray-Ban Aviators that they could have
Yeah.
just walked into any sort of like CVS and gotten lookalikes for them that
Exactly.
work just as fine. No, that's cool.
Yeah. So in doing that bit of research, I actually found that there's a Facebook page called facebook.com/Alan Grant Sunglasses in Jurassic
Oh my
Park.
God, really?
Yeah.
what, tell me about it.
I didn't have time enough to stay around and investigate it, but I thought that was pretty cool. So, yeah, I mean, aside from, just unveiling CGI in the most epic way that they could, I really don't have a whole lot more about this minute.
Tell me about your thoughts on the John Williams score for this movie. 'Cause
John Williams-
it's strange in some points, but it almost seems like maybe something he had laying around that was really well done, but maybe didn't have a movie to use it in.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, no. The score for this film is absolutely amazing. It's iconic, and whenever Jurassic World came out, the theme for Jurassic Park had more downloads than any other song on iTunes.
Yeah.
So it's just timeless score, and it's got a couple of different themes throughout the movie,
Right.
and then there are some points that are just kind of I don't know, a little strange. We'll get to them whenever they come around, but but for the most part, the score in this film is something I'll never forget. I mean, anyone who's familiar with it finds himself walking around just humming this tune all the time.
I agree completely. Just kind of feels a little out of place. You know, like the scores for Harry Potter by John Williams. I mean, John Williams, composer of the 20th century, right? Like he's the guy.
Yeah.
I'm more of a James Horner guy myself, but John Williams, you cannot argue with the fact that his canon is more prominent than anybody else's. Superman, Star Wars, Indiana Jones,
Jaws. I mean,
those all
come on.
feel like they belong in the movie.
Yeah.
Jurassic Park to me doesn't really feel like it belongs in the movie. But,
How so?
So it has like this sweeping sense of awe in this scene right here, which I kind of get. But Jurassic Park is also kind of a science fiction action movie, and the dun 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 dun. It's a little bit like almost parade like in a lot of ways, and I kind of felt like maybe it was something he came up with that was great, but it didn't fit any particular movie. Like it always felt to me like the Jurassic Park score was made up of pieces that he thought or that everybody loved, and they didn't have a movie to fit for. So they were like, let's just go ahead and put it in here.
Yeah, like you might have had them laying around.
Yeah.
something.
I mean, like when I think of like the Harry Potter score, like that is Harry freaking Potter.
Yeah.
It's so perfect for it.
There is a moment then, I guess, since you're on that, saying that some of it just feels a little out of place to you. When Grant and the kids are in the tree later on in the movie, and the Brachiosaurus comes in and they're feeding it. It's a strange scene, really. Just think of it as kind of a big cow. The whole thing is just a little too, I don't know.
It's not the strongest scene in the movie.
Yeah, I don't hold it against it at all. But the music in that is I don't know. It's just a little strange. But I don't know. Whatever. We'll get to that when we get to that.
Yeah. So I want to talk about the Brachiosaurus for a little bit here.
Sounds
I'm
good.
not talking about the actual one from the movie, but the dinosaur itself. So Brachiosaurus is a genus of sauropod dinosaur. This is from Wikipedia, by the way. From the Jurassic Morrison Foundation of North America. It was first described by Elmer S. Riggs in 1903 from fossils found in the Grand Canyon River of western Colorado in the United States. Riggs named the dinosaur Brachiosaurus alithotorax. I think I'm saying that right. I think that I'm saying that right. If you're a paleontologist out there and you're listening to this, I formally apologize, but we're doing the best we can here with the tongues that God gave us. He declared it the largest known dinosaur. Brachiosaurus had a disproportionately long neck, small skull, and large overall size, all of which are typical for sauropods. However, the proportions of Brachiosaurus are unlike any other sauropod. The forelimbs were longer than the hind limbs, which resulted in a steeply inclined trunk, and its tail was shorter in proportion to its neck than other sauropods of the Jurassic period. So that's a little bit interesting there. I think it's definitely the right dinosaur to show first in CGI. I think it definitely gets gets the scale of this movie right.
Yeah,
It really kind of like there's a sense of wonder about it. It's if they had walked out and saw like a hadrosaur, I think, or,
something closer to the ground.
Yeah.
I think the fact that it is high off the ground also adds to its kind of majestic quality.
Yeah, and when you're shown the dinosaurs in this movie, you're shown them at perfect points. You're shown the Brachiosaurus when you're meant to be wowed. You're shown the T-Rex when you're meant to be wowed but scared out of your mind. You're ready for it at that point. The Velociraptors come on after that, and it's great to put the Velociraptors on when they are, because you need something that's a little bit more scary on a level that you can understand. It's smarter dinosaur. It's not a bigger dinosaur at
That's
that
right.
point. So
a little more information about the Brachiosaurus is they are predominantly found in North America. I want you to try and process this. The Brachiosaurus, as you know it, is based on a subadult find. So the actual adult Brachiosaurus could have been bigger than what you see. Yeah. And as of the finds right now, they are generally 85 feet long, 50 feet tall, and 30 to 80 tons.
Oh my God, it's so hard to believe that there were any trees left anywhere with the amount that those things must have had to eat on a daily basis to sustain their weight. So, so I have a couple other interesting facts here. So the Brachiosaurus we hear in the scene in the movie here, the audio used to create it was a combination of a whale and a donkey sound. God. You can kind of hear the whale in it, but the donkey, I guess it's the hee-haw. Yes, you can kind of hear it there when it makes its kind of bellow here in a few minutes. But and another little funny fact here: Richard Attenborough won the Oscar for directing Gandhi the year that he beat out Steven Spielberg for directing E.T.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny that he beat Steven Spielberg and then he comes back to act in his movies. Yeah. So I thought it was funny.
Laura Dern has frequently talked about how someone will ask her, like, how did you play, your reaction to seeing a dinosaur and the Brachiosaurus in this opening scene? She's like, well, it was particularly difficult because I was actually looking at someone holding a tennis ball on a giant stick.
I mean, that's funny because you do get kind of some of the first CGI acting in this too. People that are kind of told, like, that's a real skill you have to have. You see some movies where the actor cannot work out in their imagination what it is they're supposed to be looking at. In a movie like, I think Saturday Night Live made fun of that with Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow, where Jude Law was the guest on that. Just how a director would come in and be like a green set, and there'd be a guy there in a green sock suit, and they'd be like, okay, look at this. It's going to be like, I don't know, a robot or a Nazi monster or some sort of gorilla. I don't know. We're going to do it all in post. And then hit him in the face with tennis balls, and he'd just have to react to this. But it really does take a special skill to be like, you really have to be Will Smith on a Will Smith level of acting. The guy was used to it from day one, where they came in and they're like, all right, here's a bunch of tennis balls. Here's some pre-rendered art of what we think it's going to look like. Go ahead and react to it how you would.
Yeah.
I think it's funny because it was another Michael Crichton movie, but in Sphere, Samuel L. Jackson said that until he saw the movie, he didn't know the sphere was gold.
Gold, yeah.
He was like, well, I was reacting to it as if it were silver. So that's the acting that you see in them kind of like looking in awe, just kind of like mouth agape.
Her response is amazing.
Yeah.
It's very believable. Okay, so she mentions the leaf that she pulls from the tree as the veriform leaf that has been extinct since the Cretaceous period. Well, I've always wondered, and you brought this up in a previous episode, how do they get extinct plants back? And what have you? In some of the viral marketing stuff for Jurassic World, it talks about how Dr. Wu created something called a Wu flower.
Really?
Yeah, he was able to create a plant as well as like a living creature. So I just kind of tie up, that whole question for myself, with the fact that he is capable of doing plants as well as animals. So,
all right, we got anything else for this minute?
No, that's it for me.
All right, great. So let's go ahead and get out of here. Tomorrow we'll be back with minute number 21 of Jurassic Park Minute. We'll have some guests coming up in the near future. As we've said before, we're doing this show as we're also recording Ghostbusters Minute, and it's a little hard to schedule guests for both of them.
Yeah.
Get both the shows out on a daily basis, so we are planning to kind of backload this show with a lot of guests, if you will. So we do have some people we've been talking to about that. It's going to be a lot of fun having them on.
So stay tuned.
All right, let's get out of here, folks. I'm Kyle.
I'm Brady.
And until next time, hold on to your butts.
Jurassic Park Minute is a fan-supported podcast. If you like the podcast, then leave us a review on iTunes. You can contact us at JurassicParkMinute@gmail.com and visit us online at JurassicParkMinute.com, Facebook.com/JurassicParkMinute, and Twitter.com/JurassicMinute.